Hey, I'm Santana Mullins, and today I'm going to discuss how we assess students who have a speech sound disorder. So there's many ways you can go through this. There's early intervention. Sometimes they can catch it early on if a kid's in preschool, pre-K, and that's awesome. But there's also a process. Since I'm IEP chairperson, and I'll just give you a little background on that. That is basically I conduct meetings for referrals, and I go through the testing and eligibility part of it. And sometimes I may assist with the psychometrist, or the psychometrist does like our testing for kids we refer, or SLP, which is your speech language pathologist. And then we meet and just, determine based on the data from that testing if that kid, qualifies for special education services. So I'm going to just talk about the part that I see in a public school as a special education teacher, as IEP chair. So I'm just going to start with, I'm going to start with intervention. Again, you can catch it most times in pre-K. Parents can refer any grade. You can be any grade and you think your kid, needs a referral for, speech. You can request that. As a teacher, we also can request that. But I'm going to go and say and give you the process through just like intervention, or RTI, which is response to intervention. So you have your tier 1. Tier 1 is going to be whole group. That's everybody receives tier 1. So that's like an umbrella. Then you have your tier 2. Those kids are going to be kids who are struggling with that content for the grade level. And then you have your tier 3. Those are kids who are really struggling. They're going to be 1 and 2 grade level behind. So I'm using this example because this is a way that I have referred a lot of kids, or I've seen a lot of referrals go through for speech if it wasn't through early intervention. So, for instance, say I have a kiddo who is working on decoding and encoding. And so we're doing a lot of phonemic awareness, a lot of phonics, based activities. And we know that there are struggles, there's some patterns, there's some errors that we see not only in their speech and language, but also their reading, because it can affect reading comprehension. It can affect, again, your fluency, your rate, your expression. It can affect you encoding and putting sounds and words together, and also can affect your writing. And say, as a teacher, I want to refer that kid. So I will get with the SLP and say, hey, I have this kid. Again, that's a speech and language pathologist, and I want to refer them. So we will collect these components. So a lot of components you have to collect. So for instance, I'm going to collect the intervention data. I'm going to collect any background information from parents and the teacher, any observations, informal or formal. And, I, as the IEP chair, will go in and do a formal evaluation. And we will collect all of that. And as a team, we'll come to the table. That includes me, my administrator, the SLP, the psychometrist, all of those. And we determine, is it a good time? Does we have a sufficient amount of data to move on to testing? We say yes. If we do move on to testing, then we have 60 days to test. If we do not, we just put them back to RTI and we continue, to try to help and assist in correcting those errors, or we can give a parent other ideas and other resources. And so we go through the testing stage. That's 60 days. Our psychometrist and our SLP will do the testing. If this is more speech, for speech. So that's going to be more speech-based IEP. It's going to be more your SLP doing some testing. Sometimes I do come in and provide some help and assistance if they do need some help with kids who are struggling behaviorally, or, nonverbal kids, and they just need an extra person. The testing comes back. We will meet again as a team, and we will use that testing. The psychometry usually goes over all of the information. We'll use that testing to determine if, as a team, if they qualify. If they do not qualify, again, we go back to RTI, response to intervention. We continue working. If they do qualify, then we have 30 days to make sure we have an IEP, create and develop an IEP that is based on what the test results said and what's based for those kids. And I like going through that, and I love doing it the way we do it, because you get to see and you have all this data and all this information. It tells you exactly where the kids are struggling. And the only negative and roadblocks you really will have, and I've noticed, is sometimes teacher thinks it's too much of a process to get all the information, or parents don't want their kids to be special education kids, or SPED. And I always try to make sure I confirm, special education is different than what it was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Everybody's in the same class. You just pull in and out, and everybody's leaving for different things anyway, whether it be gifted, ESL. So we try to make sure we are always confirming that this is best for them and it's best and most helpful for them. But as always, early intervention is the most helpful, finding that early and really helping those kids. And that's how we assess speech sound disorder.